What's up, guys? And we're back with another presidential elections prediction video. And a lot has changed since we last made a prediction video. So I thought it was a good idea to sit down and go over the electoral map as it stands today, as of August 20th, 2024, and give you guys my predictions as I see it at the moment. So we're going to start doing things a little bit differently with these prediction videos. You know, there's 1,000 different channels on YouTube where people sit here and they just click on this map and fill it out and just point at X, Y, and Z poll. But I want to make this more of a discussion with you guys, tell you guys my overall thoughts for the race, my opinions and stuff, and I would like to hear from you guys too. Like I said, I want this to be more of a discussion. So we're going to go ahead and fill in the safe states. There's nothing to talk about with these, so we're going to get these filled in. And then I want to take a look at some of the numbers and tell you guys who I think is going to win as of today and why I think that. So these are all of the safe Trump states, except not the 2nd Congressional District. All these Great Plains states. Am I missing anything? Ohio, Iowa. I know a lot of people are still classifying these as likely. I think we're kind of past that point, especially with Iowa. I'm certain this is going to be a safe Republican state. Ohio might still be in the likely category, but for this video, we're going to put it as safe. And of course, we'll do the safe states for Harris. Of course, the West Coast. Colorado. We're not going to characterize New Mexico as safe because there has been some interesting polling out of there. New York, I know there was a lot of talk a few months ago about how Trump was within single digits. I don't think he's going to win New York. Sorry. And I also don't think he's going to win New Jersey either. I know that was in the discussion as well. Maine's first. So here is our safe states. Now we can do the likely states. Minnesota. This is a state that Trump never won. It was close in 2016. Now that Tim Walz is the VP pick, I think this all but solidifies Minnesota. I think it still will be close, though. Not close as in it won't be a safe state, but I think they're definitely going to carry Minnesota. New Mexico. Again, there was some polling a few months ago when Biden was the candidate, but since he has dropped out, so much has changed with the race. So I'm going ahead and moving New Mexico out of the lean category into the likely Democratic category here. So I think that is all for our likely states. Now we can do some of the likely Republican states, obviously Texas. I'm on the edge of even classifying this as likely. I know it kind of got close in 2020, but it's really gone the other way the last 4 years, and it's really coming back to its roots as a conservative state. Florida, as we all know, this might be the last election that we even talk about Florida, honestly, after DeSantis and Rubio both won by 19 to 20 points. So, and Trump won this by about 3 in 2020. So I think Florida's on the verge of not being in the conversation anymore. And then I think that's about it for the likely. Now we can do some of the lean states. New Hampshire, I think Harris is going to win here. It was really close in 2016. Biden ended up winning by a lot in 2020. Trump didn't do so well in the primary there. That was one of the closest states. He almost lost to Nikki Haley. Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. It was redrawn, but the polling there is still showing Harris with a decent lead. So go ahead and give that to her. And you guys, I almost forgot Maine's 2nd Congressional District. That would be likely for Trump. And then Maine at large, probably safe for Harris. And then Virginia, we're going to talk about Virginia. So I'm going to go ahead and classify this as lean Democrat for right now. But this is something we're going to come back to here in a minute. Now we're left with the 7 main toss-up states for this election cycle. These are the states that are going to decide. These are the states that could probably go either way. These are the states that are the closest, etc. So hold on a second. So right now, with Harris being the nominee, things have changed a lot. Before, when Biden was the nominee, Trump was winning Wisconsin. He was winning Michigan. Um, he was winning the rest of them. He was on the verge of taking over Virginia. He was close in New Hampshire. He was close in New Mexico. There were signs in New Jersey that he was closing the gap. But now a lot of things have changed. And I mostly agree with this analysis. RCP is pretty good at putting together the averages and giving us a clear indicator of who has the momentum in each state. But I don't agree completely, so we can get into it now. So right off the bat, at the moment, I'm going to give Harris Michigan and Wisconsin. Michigan has just completely gone towards Harris since she became the nominee. Wisconsin, it's kind of the same story. It's not as big of a gap, but ever since Harris took the spot as the nominee, things have been trending towards the Democrats in the state. The Senate candidate, Tammy Baldwin, is up pretty big. So as of right now, I think Wisconsin's going to go for Harris, but obviously a lot's going to change before the election. I think Trump will hold on to North Carolina. I know the Harris campaign is spending a lot in North Carolina. They think they can pick it off, but I just don't see it. And then Nevada. This is a state that has been trending Republican ever since 2012. It was really close in 2016, and it's one of the few states in the country that actually shifted right from 2016 to 2020. And the polling there has been consistently in favor of Trump, even as Biden has dropped out. The gap has closed a little bit, but he's still dominating most of the polls, and a lot of these, like the New York Times, is an A-rated pollster. So I know some people are going to dispute that, but that's how I see it as of right now. So then we have 3 states, and I believe these 3 states are going to decide the election. Right now, the Trump campaign is putting all of their money in Pennsylvania and Georgia, and there's good reason for that. So if Trump holds the 2020 states, he picks off Nevada, he loses Wisconsin and Michigan, Harris is able to hold on to Arizona from 2020, which at the moment I think is likely. And there's a few reasons for that. I know the RCP has Trump ahead right now, but a lot of that is from when she just announced her candidacy. And as you can see, the polls are all over the place. The results in 2022 kind of reaffirmed the trends in the state as moving leftward. So that's really how I see the state going right now, even though RCP has it labeled Republican. You guys know this is a Republican channel, so I would like Arizona to be heading in our direction, but I just don't think it's going to as of right now. I would maybe even say tilt Democrat. So now some of you guys are probably wondering why the Trump campaign isn't dumping all of its money into Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Just Georgia and Pennsylvania. Well, like I said, if he holds all the 2020 states, like as of right now, it looks like he's going to, picks off Nevada, which is headed in the Republican direction, and he's able to flip back Georgia, because Georgia was decided by about 11,000 votes. So we say Georgia's a tilt state. That puts them at 257, and then the grand prize is Pennsylvania. And as of today, I would classify Pennsylvania as tilt Republican for Trump, because even he was leading by a lot when Biden was the nominee, but even as Harris has gotten into the race, it's still more polls showing him ahead than her. So that's my prediction right now, 276 to 262. But I told you guys I wanted to take a look at Virginia. So once again, this is a state that used to be hardcore Republican back in like the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s. And then in 2008, it flipped to the Democrats. There was hope in 2012, but Romney fell short. Trump unexpectedly came really close in 2016. If you guys remember that, they picked Tim Kaine to be the VP, thinking that was going to secure Virginia. And it was up. Trump was leading up until like 90% of the vote came in, and then the D.C. suburbs came in, and he lost the state. as you can see, 44 to 49. But I mean, these are recent polls. Today's the 20th. This was only like a week ago, and Harris only has a 3 point lead. And the New York Times only had her up 5. I mean, some people might say only 5, but it's Virginia. At this point, it was supposed to be considered a safe Democratic state. So my point is, if Trump is in the ball game in a state like Virginia, I think that's a good sign for him overall, because that sets a trend for the rest of the country. So if he's able to stay in the ball game in Virginia, how is he going to perform in Pennsylvania? Probably pretty good. But yeah, guys, during the RNC last month, I think we were all pretty certain Trump had this in the bag. After Biden's debate performance and all that, and all the polling, it was just going crazily downhill for Biden. Everyone was calling on him to drop out. So it looked like it was all but over. But I got to say, though, since then, things haven't been going good. I don't think the Trump campaign is doing things the best that they should be doing them. For one, the J.D. Vance pick, I don't know. I don't really see what the strategy was with that. I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything, but, I mean, what did he really add to the ticket? He's gonna win Ohio, regardless. And if anything, J.D. Vance underperformed in Ohio what Trump and the Republican governor were able to do in that state. So he doesn't add anything in that aspect. He doesn't really appeal to the moderate wing of the party, which, the Trump guys don't like to hear that. But if Trump's going to win, he needs those moderate Republicans. He just does. And I don't think J.D. Vance appeals to those people. Of course, I don't think we should be playing like the race and gender card, but he doesn't appeal to minorities. He doesn't appeal to women, certainly with some of these interviews that have come out. So I think they kind of dropped the ball there, and I think the thinking behind that was they thought they were going to win in a landslide when Biden was the nominee, so that's why they picked him. But, you should have known that this was coming, and you should have had a contingency plan for when Biden dropped out. So that's kind of on the Trump campaign for not, thinking about that clearly enough. And then we go from the RNC and the assassination attempt, and things are looking good. And then Harris has this honeymoon period. She starts surging in the polls. The media starts whitewashing all of the stupid interviews that she's had. I guess somehow she's not connected to any of Biden's crazy failures over the last 4 years, which I don't see how you can just separate your vice president from all that. And then, Trump, we're not hitting Harris on the issues. We have so much to work with. We have a gold mine of stuff that we could be hitting her with, like the border, crime, inflation, all these things that they failed on. Look at all the catastrophes going on throughout the world, like the wars in Ukraine and Israel. It's a mess. The world is a mess. The country's a mess. The housing crisis. People can't afford to buy homes. The average age for homeowners now is like 49. I mean, that's ridiculous. Republicans have every policy and statistic on their side to win this election, so we just need to utilize it to the best of our advantage. We've got to stop talking about things that don't matter. The Trump campaign has to get on message, and we need to hit the crap out of her on these issues. And we've got to be better with fundraising, because the Harris campaign is out. They're out fundraising us. And we've got to start spending our money more strategically. We've got to start playing better ads, more aggressive ads throughout the Midwest, in the battleground states. Yes, Pennsylvania is good, but we got to start spending more in Wisconsin and Michigan. And we've got to stop hitting Harris on stupid things that independent voters don't care about, like race, gender, crowd sizes. Those things don't matter. We've got to stop talking about that and talk about her failed record as vice president. And if Trump does that, I mean, we could make the changes right now. I think he'd win Arizona. I think he'd win Wisconsin. I think he'd win Michigan. I think he'd have a good chance in New Hampshire, a good chance in Virginia. But, as of right now, that's just not the case. So that would be my message to the Trump campaign, is to get on message with the policy and stay on it. Stay away from stupid things that people don't care about. And if they do that, I think we're going to win big. And I think he'll come in with a mandate. He'll come in with the Senate, the House. So you guys, that's where I stand as of today on the state of the whole 2024 race. The DNC the circus is going on right now. I haven't really been paying much attention to that, but a little bit I have seen. It's the same old talking points, just blatantly lying about everything, just making stuff up like they usually do. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to fall for it. But let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of my electoral college prediction. Let me know what you guys think of my analysis and anything you guys want to add, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.